Welcome to another live stream, everyone. Please do me a favor and let me know if you can see the charts clearly and you can hear me all right. Hopefully you're all having a fantastic day so far. Smash that thumbs up button if you are excited for Bitcoin to be retesting the all-time highs here. And guys, once again, much like yesterday, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, as well as the rest of the market is mostly pumping beautifully. This stream is going to be very short. I do have a bit of a migraine today, but the price action got me excited. So I wanted to hammer out a very quick video for you guys with my thoughts, basically. So yeah, just let me know that you can hear everything all right. Make sure it's all good. Audio, video, good. Right on. Thank you. Good to see you here again, Adrian and Hurley. Welcome back, my friends. So something that may shock you a little bit is, as I just said in the chat, full transparency here, you guys, this trade's probably going to lose, but I did just open a bit of a head short. I want to be clear about something. I still have two very nice Ethereum longs open at this point. I'm just opening up a very small Bitcoin short right now, just because of what I talked about in my video yesterday, you guys. We're testing all-time highs now, and that's great. You guys, I am bullish as hell right now. I am only looking at this as a very tight invalidation setup for something that just happened, and that's basically we just retested this all-time high, right? But so far we have dropped back below that level. So guys, I just took a very small short. And basically, if we, just because we're retesting that potential swing fail, and basically I just have a little bit of wiggle room, but basically above 124K, I'm hoping this position gets stopped out because like I said, I'm still very bullish. This is no more than a hedge. It's an insurance play. Just because it's something that I was talking about. And it's not something I'm looking at holding on to either. I'm going to be, if we do get a decent move to the downside, break some sort of a micro run to the downside, break some sort of micro lower high, I'm probably just going to ditch the majority of it anyways. But yeah, like I said, I'm hoping that we just end up going straight to the moon here because again, Ethereum looking great, also about to test all-time highs, you guys. This one, I mean, Bitcoin has actually broken all-time highs this cycle already. Ethereum has not. So I think that if Ethereum does here, I mean, there's potential that it just runs further. So I'm not interested in shorting Ethereum, especially because if we're at that phase in the cycle where I think that if there is some sort of a correction, or especially if it is actually the end of the cycle, I would expect Bitcoin to make that first move and then altcoins to follow a little later after everyone's done being greedy and playing the altcoin cycle, whatever. But for now, I'm just going to leave those couple of Ethereum longs run and just see what happens with this. But like I said, just because, I mean, this is the old all-time high, this white line here, and just look how we dropped right back below it. And we are currently testing it as a potential, just a swing fail, right? So that's the only reason. Again, I am mega bullish right now. I just took this for insurance purposes. Ethereum, guys, like I just said, we're getting towards those all-time highs. And I mean, so this is the chart that I don't like. Normally I'm looking at the lower time frame chart and the BloFin chart, whereas this is actually the Bitstamp chart because we have much older data here and we have the actual all-time highs on this chart. Whereas the BloFin one and a lot of the other charts, it shows this price action as the all-time high, basically. But this is the actual all-time high around 48.70, and we are very close right now at 47.65. So basically another $100 to the upside, and Ethereum's also testing all-time highs for the first time this cycle. So very exciting, you guys. And generally speaking, if Ethereum's doing well, the rest of the market's doing well. So I'm hoping that this just blasts off and I end up catching a beautiful runner on those couple of positions. And guys, I mean, those of you in the Telegram, you guys obviously know that I have been trading the shit out of Ethereum lately. I've been calling out plenty of long setups on Ethereum, plenty of STUBER ranges that I've been pointing out. But yeah, just because basically it's been performing stronger than Bitcoin. And that's saying something because it's not that I'm bearish on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been performing great. It's been pumping. It's holding the same trend that I was talking about yesterday. Everything looks great. But the fact that Ethereum has been so far outperforming it, I mean, it's been so juicy that the STUBER fibs, I mean, they're playing out quicker and more aggressively. There's more follow through. I'm loving playing the altcoins right now. So Yeah, obviously we got to start being careful. We are at all-time highs, so same thing. We might see some sort of a swing fail on Ethereum. What if we get something like that? It's absolutely possible. But I'm not really looking at playing that at this time. Yeah, Ethereum's just been performing great, you guys. Looking at the shorter time frames, I did recently just point this one out in the Telegram as well. This is the one I'm basically watching right now as we set these new highs here on this micro trend. The MDX trend master indicator, we've been just trending beautiful higher buy signals now for a while, right? I mean, I've mentioned how I use this indicator pointing out a trend like this. And basically since down here, we started setting slightly higher buy signals and just absolute moonshot there. So currently, this would basically be the support I'm interested in, would be this 46.14 approximately for Ethereum. And that's where I have this range pulled, just because that's where our higher buy signal, our current highest buy signal on this trend. And this is where we got the pivot for that, right? So that's where I'm counting my support basically. And yeah, so the 786 from there would be around 46.52 down towards 46.32, and then in anywhere from 46.14 to 45.90 is fair game for a swing fail, for a bullish swing fail. But I really don't even really want to see that on this trend. I want to see us hold this support, or see support kick in. The sooner the better, basically, right? So far we are still holding this pink line here, so we still have this nice trend going to the upside. It's just that if we do end up flipping that into resistance, I could see us end up coming down here. So that's kind of the next setup on my radar currently as far as the 5-minute goes. One thing I wanted to point out, you guys, with Ethereum, I mean, you guys know that on Sunday I was talking about how beautiful Ethereum looked because we were breaking out of the Bollinger Bands and they were expanding. I believe we were trading right around here at the time. And I said that, you know, that's a beautiful breakout of the Bollinger Bands with the bands expanding, showing increased well, basically an increase of volatility loading, and the fact that we closed above them was just showing the direction we were choosing. And we've been moonshotting from there. And the exciting part about this, you guys, for those of you who remember that, look at the weekly chart right now. I mean, we have that same sign on the weekly chart where these bands are expanding right now, showing increased volatility. And we got those daily or those weekly candles closing above the band to the upside. So yeah, obviously, eventually, I mean, even if it reversed right now, I guess technically that has been a nice move, but I think this thing is just showing all the classic signs of a nice breakout. And the fact that it's right around all-time highs too, I mean, things could get very juicy here for Ethereum. Like I said, unless we get some sort of a swing fail at the actual all-time highs or something like that, then obviously we'll have to just go from there. But so far, it's still my coin of choice when day trading, right? Trading these 5-minute setups. And as always, taking some profits along the way, right? Like if I ended up getting into this position, I would be looking to ladder in, and I would be looking to scale out half of my position, whatever that ends up, right? After I end up hitting the first take profit, I'm canceling the rest of the orders because I have in the orders that I have in, go in from there. And then if I hit my second take profit from there, I just let the other half run and see if it turns into a running position. And lately that's been happening quite a bit because we have such a strong uptrend, which the MDX Trend Master has been just showing time and time again recently. As soon as these buy signals are turning to the upside, I mean, it's just been easy longs from there. So basically it's been nice and easy to catch those running positions. Of course, looking at taking partial profits as the scalps that they are, right? Remembering if I'm trading the 5-minute, I'm not looking for a 4-hour move. But if it happens where you get a daily or a weekly breakout like that and you have part of a position running, then fantastic. No complaints there, right? With that, let's hop over to Solana. Solana's actually, I think it's been outperforming Ethereum a little bit just the last few days. It hasn't been up until recently, but even now, same thing as Ethereum though, right? They're both performing very strong, but we just have this nice uptrend, higher sell signals, higher buy signals. Oops. And as I had also mentioned with Solana, you guys, one reason why I had a Solana position open yesterday, but I ended up tightening up my stop too much, whatever, not in it anymore. I'll have to find a new scalp. But same thing, right? We, even on the 4 hour, we have higher trending sell signals now, and we got a higher buy signal finding support on the support of this indicator. And to line up with that, you guys, you'll know that I've been talking for a while now, probably a good month at this point, that I really think Solana's on its way to at least 250 US dollars. And that would just be the macro STUBER resistance, right? That's not even saying breaking out. That's just kind of the 786 of this macro trend, right? Because this is where we topped. This is where we bottomed. That's our range. Until that breaks, that is our range. So yeah, at this point, being Bitcoin has got to all-time highs, Ethereum's basically all-time highs, I see no reason why Solana wouldn't at least make it to retest its 786, basically. So that would start at about 250 US dollars. The 886 would be closer to 275. And then, as I mentioned yesterday, there's also that swing fail double top territory, right, from the 1 to the 1.5 fibs. Potential swing fail zone there, that would range from about 296 to 326 US dollars. So at that range, it's not necessarily that it's bearish, right? Depends what part of the market cycle, how the market cycle's reacting. If we're still just everything's climbing higher, then we'll probably break that resistance, right? But just important to note potential resistance, especially even as far as spot, it's not even as dangerous looking for those breakouts, right? If you're just looking, you know what, I think this is going to break out soon. I don't know a perfect entry. I just want a dollar cost average in right here. That's one thing. But when you're using leverage, and that's more so what we're focused on here, right, is actual trading with leverage. That's where you need to start being a little bit cautious with resistance and at least acknowledging that resistance could reject the price, right? It's not saying to necessarily be bearish, right? I don't overly want to be shorting in these conditions. However, I will be more cautious on my longs, wait for better confirmations of trade setups or whatever, right? Just being a little bit more cautious. But at this point, I mean, Solana still looks great, you guys. Like I said, it's only currently at 200 US dollars. So I really think that it's going to end up going to 250. I can't see it taking too long. Maybe the next week or two. That would be a nice 25% to the upside if it happens. Obviously, it doesn't have to happen, right? If something spooks the market and everything starts going down, Solana's not going to be immune to that either. Or maybe we just want to see a retest of a bigger range, right? Because we have a high here, higher high here. So technically could pull a fib here. I think it just got front run here. I don't think we are coming down to test this level. But again, if that happens, it's obviously going to take a while to play out. That's the thing with the longer time frames, right? Obviously, structure still works the same. It just takes longer for things to play out. So I personally, mostly my sweet spot is the 5 minute. I've been really enjoying trading the 5 minute on Ethereum and Solana lately, mostly Ethereum, but definitely the 5 minute. That's my sweet spot. I used to trade the 1 minute more so, now more so the 5, but I like the active trading on the 5. Hype, I also want to take a look at. I mentioned this yesterday. Speaking of resistance, that hype is now officially getting into that resistance, right? We tested the 786 once already and got that move. So that's the thing, right? That STUBER, even though market conditions were very bullish, that STUBER did play out, right? We hit the 786, we hit the 0.5 target. So what kind of a move was that on the 4 hour here? That would be approximately, well, an 8.5% move to the downside, right? That's a fairly large move, especially if you were playing with leverage. So, I mean, that's a nice little swing there, but maybe that's all it had, right? We may not end up testing that 214 fib target because we currently have such a bullish trend in the market in general, right? Not just hype, but the whole market in general. So I think it makes sense that we could have already found bottom there, but we'll have to see. Again, just important to note that we are technically just at the start of resistance, basically. But the fact we already tested it once, I'm hoping that we're actually going to break through this time. And that's actually something I mentioned on Ethereum as well in my last stream, you guys, was that, or maybe it was the last stream or the stream before that, I can't remember, probably the last several streams. I mentioned another reason why I was extra bullish with Ethereum was that even though we were getting up into my resistance pocket on the macro timeframes like this, we had already tested the 786 so many times, right? So at a certain point, when you keep tapping away at that resistance, it makes sense that eventually you're going to break through, right? Just like support. So the fact that, that STUBER played out several times, right? We went from the 786 to the 0.5 a couple of times. Then we went from the 786 all the way to the second target there, the 214. And at that point, it's been tested so many times. And with current market conditions, just how everything looks in general, I didn't really see this resistance stepping in again, right? Even though it happened the first couple times, that's exactly why I like taking this trade setup the first time, is because so often you're going to get that, at least that test of that level. And you can see that here. And the market was insanely bullish every time we got to this level, right? I mean on social media and stuff, right? Everybody was getting very, very confidently bullish at that level. But we were actually at resistance. But now that it's been tested so many times, I just feel different about it this time, right? This time, I think it is worth noting that, yeah, it could absolutely break out. So again, looking at Bitcoin, you guys, in my last couple of streams, I had mentioned that the same thing, MDX Trendmaster indicator, right? We got the higher buy signal, the higher sell signal. So basically, yeah, we've just been holding this trend absolutely beautifully. I mentioned that yesterday, that even though we got rejected from this STUBER, right, my purple pocket here, we were finding support on this indicator, and this indicator is trending to the upside. So again, just beautiful to see support from both a structure point of view and an indicator point of view. I mean, everything's just been reacting so predictably lately, right? That's the beautiful thing about bull markets, when it's just obviously in a bull trend, right? And that's the thing, guys, too, right? Is I know a lot of people were upset that I was warning to be cautious and I was bearish at this level. But remember, I was very clear that as soon as my red flags got invalidated, I was going to be a moon boy again. We flipped that resistance into support. Altcoins, Bitcoin dominance started dropping. All those things started happening. And now that people are starting to get bearish, and yeah, you know what? I got bearish a little bit early on Bitcoin. I got more bullish on altcoins, so I regret nothing. But as soon as my red flags got lifted, it was a big green light for me to go crazy on my bullish side of things, right? I'm a full on moon boy again, right? Like, this is what people wanted from me, and they got it now. And I know a lot of people will probably think, oh, you're late to the party because you didn't join until after this. Well, first, I mean, I've been bullish on Bitcoin since about 18,000 this cycle. So, I mean, taking some profits at 110K, I really don't regret anything about that, especially that a lot of those profits went into Ethereum and Trollcoin. Really not too upset about that decision. And even now, guys, like, as bullish as I am on Bitcoin, like I said at the start of the stream, I am mega bullish on Bitcoin, but I'm still not even trading it right now. And I'm barely paying attention to it, just because altcoins, I think at this stage of the cycle, are in an even better position, you guys. Even Ethereum right now, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to get down to my long pocket down here. But like I said, I've got a couple positions open on Ethereum already. So if they want to just run straight to the moon, so be it. Eventually, there will be some sort of a trade setup that I'm going to want to get into again, but can't force it, right? If you wanted to look for some sort of a very tight invalidation setup, I mean, technically we're trading right along this indicator support right now. So you could have fairly tight stop loss, either something like this or here. It's risky though, right? I'm not adding a position on something like that, but I do love that we're holding this trend. I mean, it looks fantastic. Technically, there was a little mini guy here. I don't think it's hit though. Oh, it did. It did. Look at that. again, guys, so that's the thing, right? I mean, there's always smaller ranges inside smaller ranges inside smaller ranges, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, if you pull a fib and your targets are too close to your entries and you don't like that it's, splitting hairs or it's just not worth your time, well, then you're just pulling a small range, right? But there's bigger ranges out there and then bigger ranges outside of that and bigger ranges and so on, right? But just to show you how market structure works and why I say it works on all time frames, here's another perfect example, right? We had a high here, we had a higher high, here's our higher low. I pulled a fib from here to here. We tested the 786 perfectly, hit the first target, got very close to the second target, not quite. And again, it's a small range, but the structure is still there. So yeah, if you're more of a swing trader, like I said, I mostly trade the 5-minute with higher leverage. But if you're more of a low leverage swing trader, I look at structure the same, right? The same way that I'm looking at the 4-hour and everything, it's all the same. Doesn't matter if it's the 1 minute, the 5-minute, the 15-minute, 1 hour, 4-hour, daily, weekly. I look at structure all the same. Something that I really want to see on Bitcoin's weekly, speaking of different time frames, is, and I know I mentioned this yesterday, but I really want to see that RSI on the weekly get above the 70 level. Man, that would just be a great sign of strength to me. That just being we're in such a strong uptrend, and to see the RSI go into overbought conditions, that would be a huge sign of strength, relative strength index. So in an uptrend, I want to see this strength up there. That would be absolutely beautiful. Get rid of this divergence. And honestly, you guys know my feelings on this already. It doesn't really have structure that has me worried about this divergence yet, but it is on my radar. It's a little bit of a warning that there is a bearish divergence there. But being it's not a double top, it's not we haven't lost a higher low. Nothing like that. I'm just not all that worried about it at this point, but it's on the radar. Something else, guys, I had talked about this yesterday and the day before and Sunday or whenever the last couple were, is I guess now that we've technically, even though it's just a wick, we broke this structure, right? My red line here, we did get above it. So we get to move our higher low. This yellow line here is now a confirmed higher low, right? I'm going to get rid of that one, which is great because now even if we do see a pullback, and guys, this is micro analyzing. We did barely get above it. It is just a wick at this point. But if we're going to maintain a very strong trend at this point, I would want to pull my fib from here. And basically as the price goes up, so will the fib. But being we did get a little higher, I like to count wicks. When I look at trend lines, I count wicks. When I look at, fib entries and stuff, it's wicks. Higher highs, lower lows, I go by wicks. And that's technically one there. So even if we see some sort of a pullback at this point, you can expect the bulls to step in sooner because we have that new structure now. I love to see this. It also makes it a tighter invalidation. Whereas, okay, let's say, you know what, I think we're going to go higher and I hope we go higher, but let's say the price does one of these. At that point, I would be considering looking at hedging some shorts somewhere like this. Just because at that point, right, if we lose that higher low structure, which we haven't yet, I would be looking at something like this. Then that's very theoretical, right? That's just saying we broke the lows, went somewhere in there. Notice I'm drawn to that level with an eyeball at this point because I draw it out so much. But yeah, I would be starting to consider this resistance at that point because it would be the first test after breaking a trend. Like this, for example, we never broke this here because after we ended up setting this higher high, the higher low was down here, right? This was not a higher low. It was when we got up here, then that confirmed this as a higher low. But now that we got another higher high, we got a new higher low. So that's very exciting because that bumps up our support significantly at this point. Where would that be? That is at around 112K now. So that bumps it up from 98K. Before that, it was about 74K. So I love to see this trend doing this and staircasing higher like this. I would still rather have a candle close above this level, but even the candle close being above the other candle closes, I mean, that would be a good sign of strength as well. So yeah, I think this looks just juicy at this point. I am going to throw a fib on here just so I can chase it as the price changes in the near future. If we go higher the next couple days, then at least I can adjust my fib box, right? 4 hour, what's the 5 minute? Yeah, like I said, guys, I'm hoping that we end up just shooting a new highs. I want to see us continue trending. Ethereum, good. I'm glad that so far it did hold that STUBER support, right, of a very small range, but whatever, it is what it is. I love to see support doing support things. I would rather drop down here if I was looking for a long setup, but again, if my positions want to run, so be it. Sorry guys, I will catch up on the chat in just a second. The one other one I did want to mention, I know not everybody's into meme coins, but I've been talking about this one a little bit recently. Troll coin is basically, it found support right where I was hoping that it would. I don't really want to see it drop below 13 cents because, again, just looking at the market structure for what it is, just like I've done with the weekly on Bitcoin, right, is technically we had a high here. We had our little pullback because we got our red candle and we went higher. So that confirms this as our higher low and a very higher low compared to the previous one because it absolutely moon shipped. But I love to see that so far we are holding support where I was hoping we would. Obviously, meme coins are incredibly dangerous and very volatile. And guys, I mean, even though that's a healthy correction, in my opinion, that was basically a 50% correction from the highs. So just understand how volatile some of these low cap coins are. And I shouldn't even say low cap anymore. It's about a $170 million market cap at this point. When I was talking about it back here, it was like 15 million. So it's actually gotten quite large, but yeah, as long as it can hold this 13 cent level, I think that it's looking great. If it drops that, I have my concerns. I would be looking at shorter time frames in that case, and I would be looking at coin building. I know I've pointed that out in my Telegram a couple times that, when I'm expecting some sort of a pullback, sometimes I'll sell a chunk, like a quarter of my coins or whatever, and try and grow my collection a little bit. So I was doing that with Troll a little bit on the way down, softens the blow a little bit. And then if we do go to new highs, I have new coins, right? Got free coins basically doing that. So there's other ways to trade other than just leverage. Ethereum, yeah, I want to really babysit this Ethereum. I don't really care what happens with Bitcoin. I want to watch well, actually, I shouldn't say that. It's at all-time highs. I should be more excited about it, right? But like I said, I'm just so much more excited about altcoins right now. But yeah, let me catch up on the chat here in a sec. I'm just going to throw on some chill music here. Let me know if it's annoying, too loud, not loud enough, whatever. Just to feel some silence while I read. Reading isn't my strong point. I read parts, not words. Mr. Greek, welcome back. Welcome back. All-time highs. Let's go. Absolutely. Smash that thumbs up, guys. You guys appreciate these live streams, even though I'm here coming at you with a bit of a migraine here. This price action is just too exciting, so I had to get here and do at least a short stream. Sorry, I'm not going to do near as many altcoin requests. Well, I don't think I'm going to do any altcoin requests because, like I said, not feeling the best. Trying to keep this one short. Maybe this weekend I'll do another one. Tomorrow I have other plans, but maybe Friday or Sunday, I might be able to live stream again. If not, early next week, I'll be back. But hope you feel better soon. Thank you, Hurley. Appreciate it. Your Ethereum long got stopped out, but happy anyways. You were in a nice Ethereum long yesterday, though, were you not? Or did it get stopped in a profit? It's a top, see y'all at 69K. You know what? It's absolutely possible. I just don't think so. I actually want to bring up the longs versus shorts as well here in a second, but I do want to catch up with the chats a little bit. And guys, for those of you who do just want to see more examples of how I pull fibs, how I look at market structure, some more examples of my trade strategies, some of the trade setups that I'm looking at moving forward and all that sort of stuff. If you want to gain access to my Telegram channel, there is the QR code on the screen there. You can scan that and it should set you up with a sign up bot that basically gets you signed up with BloFin, my partners, and that gets you access to my Telegram group as well. Kate the Greek closed out my biggest trade of all time this morning and re-entered at original breakout on Bitcoin. I have learned so much from you, Tone, Matt, Crypto Lifer, and Jason Casper. Thanks to all. Oh, nice, man. That is so awesome. Congratulations. I love to hear that. Love being a part of your journey like that. That is awesome. What support levels in BTC? I will take a look at BTC. Looks like. So with Bitcoin, I mean, we have to be aware of resistance up to about 125K. There is still that potential swing fail, right? If this bearish STUBER is going to turn into something, technically the invalidation is above 125K. So understand that we still can get rejected at some point here. Current support levels that I would be watching for. That depends what time frame you're looking at. I'll look at the 4-hour and the 5-minute. Since we blasted through that STUBER resistance, I'm going to erase a few things here. All right, so a few different ways we can look at support right now. One is the average of this buy signal here with the MDX Trendmaster. That is currently around 119,000 US dollars. If I was looking for a fib pull, like how I normally look for my entries, unfortunately, this one would scare a lot of people. But as far as a 4-hour chart structure goes, and we just set our high, this is our high. We now finally have a higher high. That means this is the lowest point between the two. So at this point, the fib would look something like this. This is actually the same fib, I believe, as what I pointed out on the weekly, right? Pulling from about 112K and pulling, from around 112K. So yeah, that's actually the same fib pull that I did on the weekly. That matches up with the 4-hour structure right now. If at this point we could set another high and do something like that, then we bring up that higher low drastically again, kind of like what I was talking about on the weekly or with Troll or whatever. If we got that kind of structure, then we have a much higher confirmed level of support. But at this point, unfortunately, the reality is that it's possible to drop down towards that, really to test 114 down to 110K. Anywhere in there is fair game for a retest of support, right? That would be a juicy swing fail if it happened. I'm not saying we're going to those levels, you guys. It's not like I'm taking a short right now expecting us to go to those levels. It's just that if we go to those levels, I know what kind of positions I'm going to be looking for, right? This is just more so planning ahead, but that is basically the current 4-hour support level I would be looking at. I can also bring up point of control. That's actually very close to that 119K level I had outlined, actually closer to 118, but that would be more of a volume-based point of control. Liquidations. So the liquidation band is also providing support right around that same level. There's starting to be a lot of liquidity below us, right? That is one thing to consider. If I was a market maker, I might be tempted to go grab some of that. So again, just another reason why it's possible we go down there. Again, not saying we are, but it's possible. AI charting tools also building beautiful support boxes, actually demand zones, but same thing, right? Showing support basically. And that's lining up same thing with that 119 down to 118K level. So that whole region would be current support basically. As far as the 5-minute goes, support technically much like how the 4-hour is, or the weekly or whatever, we could technically look for a micro one, something like this. We haven't broke above 124, so I'm actually still in my head short, but again, I'm really expecting that to get stopped out. As far as the micro trend, yeah, we have potential support on the 5-minute here, basically between 123.1 and 123K. Invalidation below 122.8, basically. That's one of those ones where it's really, you're trying to get into a position that is the micro trend. It's very possible something like that would eventually reverse and we test some actual, like some better support levels. But that's one of those ones, if you're looking at getting into a very tight risk type of a setup, basically, right? Just a very tight stop loss, looking more for a scalp at something like that and hoping it runs with part of your position. But as far as a better 5-minute setup, I had pointed this out earlier. If I bring up the Trendmaster, or that was Ethereum I was talking about. But same thing, right? We have this, last time we got our major pivot was down here at around 119K. So if I just pull that with our current price action as we go higher, I'll just keep pulling that fib as long as we're holding this buy signal, basically. So that support would be basically around 120 down to 119.4. And then we're getting that swing fail. It's getting right back to those same levels as the 4-hour. Honestly, like, so many time frames are actually lining up with basically the same structure right now. The weekly, the 4-hour, even the 5-minute all have the same fib pull right now, damn near. This fib pull is smaller, but the invalidation of it basically lines up with that support levels on the longer time frames. So there's, no matter what happens here, you guys, I mean, the market is still currently in a good place. Obviously that can change at any time, but currently, I mean, things look pretty good. I don't see any red flags yet. It's very possible we reverse. I personally don't think this is the end of the market cycle at this point or anything like that. But I mean, it's possible we reverse. But I'm just not expecting it. And I don't see a reason to assume that, right? Anybody who's guessing this is a top, it's just that. It's a guess, right? You have no structure confirming that whatsoever. Even if we get a swing fail and see that big rejection, like I said, on the 4-hour or the weekly, it would be just, it's a swing fail, I really think that it would just be retesting the lower areas of this bigger range. I don't think it would be at the end of the cycle at that point yet. Hopefully the music's not too annoying. Sorry, I still just got to catch up on a few more. Got sidetracked with that question a little bit. Isn't this Tone Vase's channel? Why am I talking about shitcoins? I've barely started talking about shitcoins yet, but yes, he is. It's a couple people's channel, but yeah, there's a few people that stream on this channel, so I'd look at more the shorter time frame, higher leverage trading, active day trading setups and that sort of stuff more so. And as you mentioned, I'll look at some shit coins. I am not opposed to making money because don't get me wrong, I love Bitcoin way more than Ethereum, but Ethereum has been far outperforming Bitcoin recently. And if you are too stubborn to accept that, you're losing money, right? I mean, this is since April when Ethereum smashed $2,000 and it broke the diagonal resistance. And this is on the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart. It broke diagonal resistance, it broke horizontal resistance, it broke the USDT resistance, and basically since April, Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin by 125%, and that's with Bitcoin doing very well. Ethereum, the trade setups that I like, those STUBER fibs, they've been respected better on Ethereum. They've been playing out bigger with more follow through on the running side of the position. And they've been playing out quicker, getting me into more trades. So although I like Bitcoin way more than Ethereum, I do often refer to Ethereum as a shit coin. I don't care though. I am a trader, and a big part about being a trader is not having emotions attached to something, right? And refusing to look at other assets and refusing to trade anything but Bitcoin, that would be a very emotional decision. So I would just personally rather, I'm open to trading anything. Liquidation guru. I appreciate it, brother. Love this bloody legend. Feeling greedy, need to change that. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Once you start feeling greedy, that's a bit of a red flag. Nick, tone is more so on the morning shows. Liquidation guru again. Stu is the goat. Oh, shucks. Thanks, my dude. Bite thief. StuTube, dude, there is very bad news. I have huge longs from 113 to 116k level. There is no way this is going to pump without stopping me out. We crashed to 116 at least. Well, I hope not, for your sake. I hope we just go straight to the moon for you. That being said, you know, me personally, like, obviously do what works for you. But if I ever find myself in a position where it's like, if I round trip the rest of this, am I going to be upset? And if the answer is yes, I will consider taking partial profits. Or if I'm asking myself, should I take profits? Should I leave my position? That's a good chance that, well, I should close a little bit of it, right? Remove some risk, pay yourself a little, whatever. But again, being in a long from 113 to 116K, beautiful, brother. Love it. I do a lot of hiking. I love hiking. Love hiking, paddleboarding, canoeing, kiteboarding, kite surfing, wakeboard, snowboard, skateboard. Hurley, yeah, it was the trade from yesterday. Trailing stop got hit and profits locked in. Nice, man. That was, I remember you showing me that. And yeah, you got a better entry than I do on my position. I actually took this screenshot right before starting this stream. It would actually be a little bit higher right now, but this is one of the trades that I took a couple of days ago. And guys, like I've been talking about on this stream, this is all stuff that I was covering in the Telegram, you know, talking about why I am more bullish on altcoins just because of where we're at in the phase of the cycle. It's not that I'm more bullish on altcoins in general, just at this phase of the cycle, because I've seen what happens the last couple cycles. And whenever we get near the end, whether it's near the end or just the last phase, whatever you want to call it, you know, altcoins generally perform best at the end of the cycle when greed is going crazy. So that's the only reason. But breaking news, Pepe and Bonk coins are burning a lot of supply. Interesting. Pepe and Bonk can make 20x. Collect Pepe and Bonk in the spot to get rich. I mean, I personally, I don't actually hold any Pepe or Bonk, but yeah, I'm totally down for trading some meme coins and shit like that too. So I get it. There's potential there, right? If the meme coins go through their cycle again, I mean, there is constantly meme coins going through big pumps and dumps, but most of them, I mean, it's the Solana casino, right? Meme coins, the low cap meme coins are so dangerous, so dangerous. Most of them go straight to zero. If we pump higher, the 4-hour support levels on BTC will change, go higher. Yes. Yeah. Like at this point, it would even be possible if we came back at this point, just because this was basically, here, one sec. Basically, this is the level that we ended up finding support and pushing us to our new high here. So we may have a little bit of support there, a potential order block there. But again, if we start dropping that far, it's also possible we're going right down to support of the bigger range. But we'll have to see. At this point, I mean, definitely no reason to be bearish yet. And I agree. Yeah, if we go a little bit higher, that just raises our support higher, right? Up over 16K this week trading, only one major loss, and that was my fault. Didn't get stop loss set fast enough. I expect a pullback here at some point before we go to 125K, but who knows? 16K in a week. Hey, that's a good salary right there. Well done. Love it. SPX, do you mean at the actual SPX or the SPX 6900 or whatever that meme coin is? Guys, like I said, I'm not actually going to do altcoin requests today, just because, like I said, I started this with a headache. I've had a migraine for hours, a bit of one just hanging on here, so I'm trying to get through this. But yeah, I just really had to get this stream to for you guys, just kind of talking what I think about, you know, just some levels to watch for, right? If we do see a little pullback, the fact that we changed the structure a little bit, I mean, everything just looks so good, you guys. Even if there is a pullback, obviously, even when things are strong, that doesn't necessarily mean, well, 100x long right now, it's going to go straight up, right? Obviously, we bounce around. The price of these assets definitely ranges more than it's actually going straight one direction, right? So you still want to be able to find those entries. And I mean, guys, that's exactly why I like to teach, you know, my STUBER fib strategy. That's obviously before you're doing any actual trading on your own, make sure you're doing back testing that rather than just taking my word for it. Make sure that things are lining up the way you look at them as well. Back testing is super important, but if you want more examples, you guys, of basically just more examples of my strategies, some of my trade setup ideas, more examples of how I view market structure. You just want more of my thoughts on the market in general, do yourself a favor, get in my Telegram by scanning the QR code there or clicking the link in the description down below. The sign up bot should make things as painless as possible to get signed up to BloFin, which again grants you free access to my private Telegram group. If you already have a BloFin account, you can contact the Financial Summit team on Telegram for assistance. Their username is on their main YouTube page. And yeah, hope to see you guys in there. But at this point, what is Ethereum? Still holding this buy trend here. Solana, I do want to zoom in on Solana a little bit. So that STUBER fib setup did play out. I see it just recently hit the target too, right? Had you played something like this, I never took this trade. I had it laid out, but I never ended up taking it. But had you taken it, you would have hit 3 of your laddered entries. Average entry would be somewhere around the 886, and boom, first target, second target. And from there, if the other half of the position runs, fantastic, right? Wish I would have seen that, because again, I really want to get into a running position on Solana, because I can't help but feel it's going to 250 at least fairly soon. But I guess we'll see. Market doesn't give a shit about my opinion or my feelings, but we will see. Hype trying to blast right through that STUBER fib. Like I said, the fact that we already tested it once, that just might be the only one needed, right? Bitcoin, what are we doing? Holding above the all-time highs pretty well, right? We're still holding this buy trend. We'll see. We'll see if we can stay above this this resist support flip here. I hope we do. I hope we just continue trending this trend. Like I said, full transparency, you guys. I did just take a short right along this white line here at the start of the video, right before I started. And I fully expected to get stopped out. It was for nothing other than insurance purposes, looking at it as more of a hedge just in case we swing fail here. But other than that, I mean, I am more excited about my much larger Ethereum positions, right? My hedge short on Bitcoin, it's a small one. I really don't care what happens with that. My Ethereum longs, I'm excited if they just keep running to the upside. So, yeah, just to show you guys a couple examples. I mean, like I said, I was talking in the Telegram about why I was more so focused on altcoins recently, right? Whether it was Ethereum, hype, calling out setups, some of them live, some of them ahead of times, and just look at them playing out. Obviously, not every single one's going to play out, but I think in the last week, I don't know, maybe some of you guys in the Telegram can verify, but I'm pretty sure out of my last 10 or so STUBER fib setups, I think only one has got invalidated. They have been absolutely on point lately with Ethereum on the 5-minute. So again, if that's something that interests you, get in the Telegram channel, guys. One other thing I did want to look at, sorry, since I looked at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and it's still breaking to the upside. That's great for the altcoin market. Bitcoin dominance was the last thing I wanted to check out here, you guys. And we are still dumping, right? I've been warning about this since we were up here. And since we lost that, I mean, that's where I got mega bullish on altcoins, right? The fact that, and again, it was nothing against Bitcoin. It was the fact that Bitcoin is holding around all-time highs very healthily, and Bitcoin dominance is dropping off a cliff and it's still holding that price. That's a beautiful divergence to have. That means Bitcoin's holding its all-time highs without even trying. The focus is not on Bitcoin whatsoever at this point because it's dropping off a cliff like this. But we lost that uptrend on the 4-hour, and then I pointed this out. We're also in the process of potentially losing this one on the weekly. This is a massive potential dump to the downside, and that would be huge for altcoins. If Bitcoin dominance ends up getting rejected off that support resist flip and does end up going back to these support levels, I mean, that is a huge dump. And guys, something else that goes with that, look at this massive range, right? This is a weekly time frame. This is all the way back to 2020. And yeah, we basically, the top of this is where we topped at the 786, right? It's wild how often that comes into the charts. But to see that rejection, I mean, not too surprising. And to see us losing uptrends like that along the way, I mean, I see no reason why it wouldn't drop to at least this green line here. And even at that point, if it bounces, I would not be surprised to see it hit the STUBER target, the 214. And if that happens, altcoins are going to be flying, especially if Bitcoin is holding above all-time highs and that dominance keeps dropping like that. That would be huge for the market. Adrian, get better, mate. I need my bear in top form. Yeah, I'll be back. He's just hibernating, right? I just need a hibernation real quick to get rid of this headache. Casper had $1 million long on BTC this morning. He is celebrating tonight. Oh, hell yeah, you would be. Attaboy. Stew gargle with some hydrogen peroxide and flush your sinuses with it. Also hit the sauna. Ooh, sauna. I like the sounds of that. Might have a nap. Might have a hoot. I'll probably do all the things you're not supposed to do, actually. Other than napping, obviously. Anyways, guys, I think that's about all I wanted to go over today. So hopefully you guys found the stream useful. If so, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe so you don't miss these streams. And if you appreciate me being here, even when I'm a bit under the weather, the market is exciting times right now. So I had to get here with you guys, even if it's just for a short one. And like I mentioned, guys, if you want access to my private Telegram channel where I share some of my theories, some of my trade setup ideas, just my overall thoughts on the markets in general, there is the scannable QR code on the screen there. And with that, thank you so much for being here with me, you guys. Really love doing these streams with you guys. Love talking through my emotions and just keeping a level head about things. It really helps. And I like having your guys' questions and everything. So thank you so much for being here once again. With that, stay alert. Stay safe. Maybe some of you guys will recognize that one, or keep fit and have fun. Peace out.